What's up, everyone? Welcome to the I Found the Truth Rewind program. I am your host, Josh Doyle, joined with my other host, Tommy Doyle, and we will be taking you behind the scenes.
Josh, this is incredible, seeing this setup and the production, everything that goes into all of these stories, which are so powerful. But the question I got for you is seeing this setup and everything we got going for every individual story that we're sharing, what gave you the idea to kind of tell these stories in a format like this to get it out and in front of people?
Yeah, so we just know that there's such a power that you can, on the internet, you can get so much out on the internet. It's so powerful to be able to use that medium to get content out in front of people. We may not be able to go to Tehran or Baghdad or other places around the world, but our hope, our prayer is that these videos can go to folks around the world, maybe Muslims that are seeking to know more about Jesus, or maybe they don't know what they're looking for, but we hope and pray that these videos, that they will come across them and that these will be a beacon of hope for them.
So this format being these videos that can be, short or the longer form to get the full story, they're just so powerful on social media. And what was the, thought process behind that? Why did you decide to do it in not only a video, but something that could be shared so readily across social media?
Yeah, so when we started putting the videos online, we were worried about Muslims and just the opposition that we would face. And, we were really hoping that Christians would jump in the comment section. There would actually be some great debate, and they'd be able to talk through complex issues that that they face. And so that's when we feel like we were starting to see some success, was when we felt like Christians and Muslims were debating in the comment section. And I'm all for it. I think it's great because they have questions and they want them answered. And so really the whole reason we wanted to do this was to create a safe place, not to have a message that condemns or shoves a message down anyone's throat, but to provide a safe place for Muslims to come and hear about Jesus. And from a lot of our conversations, a lot of you and I, like when we travel around the world, there's a lot of Muslims out there that say, I didn't have anyone to talk to. And when I did talk to someone, we've talked to people and they say, my imam punched me in the face or pushed me out and said, don't talk about Christianity or don't talk about Jesus. And so we wanted to create a safe place for Muslims to come and find out more about Jesus. So with your travels around the world, what have you encountered with Muslims and just their openness to the gospel right now?
Wow, so that's a big question. I mean, every country is going to be a little different depending on what's going on, with the country geopolitically at the time. Unfortunately, a lot of the Middle Eastern countries we've gone to, there's always either recently been conflict or building up, conflict about to happen. For instance, we've spent how many times have we gone to Turkey and Jordan and Lebanon to help with Syrian refugees? So that in a time like that, when there's like a strain due to internal conflict, which Syrian civil war was big and lasted for over a decade, still kind of sorting itself out. But that's when the appetite for knowledge about truth is where it became apparent. When they're facing that internal struggle at home and they see that, hey, our government, our whole country is Muslim, and all these things they're doing, some of these groups are doing, are in the name of Islam against other Muslims.
Right.
That is when we've seen them very open, and they're kind of almost, I don't know the right word here, but
turned off, maybe?
Yeah, disenchanted, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of over the what they've been taught and raised their whole life. And so they're curious what, especially when we would come in and people would come in to help them, they would open up. Like, why are you all coming in to help us? Like, you don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Like, showing that love, that unconditional love to anybody, regardless of their religion, race, anything, was so big for them to want to know more. So hearing stories in that setting was humongous.
Yeah.
Like, you and I, we've heard some amazing stories.
Absolutely. Well, I would even add to that, like, so many young Muslims are tired of seeing it not work out, whether it's their country, whether it's their government, whether it's these terrible acts that are done in the name of Allah. I think a lot of young Muslims are waking up and they don't agree with it. And so they are looking for other areas. And so they're not allowed to look in a lot of cities, a lot of contexts, they're not allowed to look in other places and other religions. And so, I think that's what's so powerful about these videos is that these can go places we cannot. And so some of the videos we've created we wanted to get them out there so that if somebody is going to bed at night and they're looking at who is Jesus or where can we find out more about other religions, that they would find our films. And some of the stories we've heard is that that's what's happening, and there was a man in Turkey that became a believer through our videos, which is incredible.
Wow.
And praise the Lord. Like if we stopped everything today, like those stories are worth it right there.
Absolutely.
And but what was so cool about his story was he actually started to evangelize to other Muslims using I Found the Truth videos, which is incredible. And so, I mean, when we started this, we could never imagine how big it would go. And I know we've always talked about this, it's never been, we never were looking for numbers or never looking for as big as we can get these videos or as many subscribers as we could get. Really, it was just trying to stay faithful to the stories and just provide a sliver of hope for Muslims that are looking for more.
Wow. And I think it's just so wild because these videos, they can be 20 minutes long and it's somebody's experience, in Islam, living their whole life that way, and then either having a dream of Jesus or an experience or some way they were led to Christ. And so people watching that, these are big, heavy topics, and they need, like, sometimes they may not even have a family member they can talk to about this. I like that there is the comment section, so they can maybe communicate a little bit. But if anybody like watches a video and has like dramatic big questions, like, hey, this has turned my world upside down. What do I do with this? Yeah. Do they have any means to connect with you guys?
Yeah. So, and really this was started from the very beginning was we wanted to have a team ready to go to be able to answer any questions for Muslims around the globe. And so, we've got folks that can go to I Found the Truth, the talk page. And under that talk page, we actually encourage, like, we don't ask for your full name. We don't ask for your name. We don't care. Like, it actually says you can put in an alias. You don't have to put in your name. Put in an email. It doesn't have to be your email. It can be a fake email. I mean, honestly, we're just like, if you want to come talk, we're there to be able to talk through anything. And so we encourage that if people have questions, and we have a team ready to go to answer them.
That's awesome. So then it goes full circle. The former Muslim who who put their faith in Christ, now sharing that story to, that's being broadcast around the world, and in hopes that it touches someone and they consider to hear, to learn about the truth. Yeah. But then they also have the follow-up, which is good. So that's a pretty heavy lift to have all of that. Is this like on an online format? The question, is there anybody they can talk to, or is it digital email?
Yeah. A good question. So for those listening, if they do have a topic that they want answered, if they want to talk to someone, we have a team ready and willing to talk and eager to talk, actually. And so you can go to ifoundthetruth.com and you can go to the talk page. But yeah, I mean, it is a heavy lift. And so some of these inquiries that come in are a little bit harder to deal with. Like, we had one come in the other day, and he is a Muslim and he wanted to become a Christian. And in order to do so, he was going to lose everything. He was going to lose his family. They were going to disown him on the spot. And the lady that he was in love with is a Christian. And so his parents were like, if you want to marry her, she has to become a Muslim. And so, for a lot of these folks that do give up, that do become a believer in Jesus, they give up everything. They don't just sacrifice, they truly sacrifice everything to follow Jesus.
I think one of the big things that we've witnessed overseas and in the Middle East is that the culture and the religion are so closely tied together, it's almost impossible to separate the two.
Yeah.
So the way they dress, the way they eat, the way, so many things are done, it's just, they're intertwined. So asking, somebody that is thinking of leaving Islam, a lot of them may think they're leaving everything they've known about
Absolutely.
life so far.
Absolutely.
So
And many of the people you and I have met, like Majdaleen down in the desert, we could share that story if you want.
one of our first, have numerous dozens of stories, but this is one of our first kind of God stories that we witnessed firsthand. With the team present, we had 25 witnesses with us, but so we took a team down to the Negev desert in Israel, and we were going to be camping in the middle of nowhere with some Bedouins there. And this was set up from a friend who had lived in the region. And so we had never met this woman hosting us, this Bedouin woman.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Not a rented tent on the side of the highway.
Miles to get there. And so we go out to meet her. We were going to stay at her and her husband's place, and they had these tents set up for us and everything, and we were really excited because we had an adventurous group with us, and so we were headed there. And as we show up, the sun's kind of setting, beautiful desert scenery, and Majdaleen shows up, and she's larger than life. She's got so much personality.
Speak
and just
English, Hebrew, Arabic, gibberish,
yes,
all rolled into one sentence.
So a lot of charades to communicate, a lot of pointing to things or drawing in the ground, but anyways, we show up, and as we're approaching her, you and I are leading the group of 25 behind us, and we're walking up. As we approach her, she comes up to us and she says, "I've seen you before." And we're kind of like,
never been here.
Yeah. We're kind of like, okay, is this a joke or something? Is she trying to be funny? And she repeats it. I've seen you before. She's more serious and stern now. And so we kind of take pause and we listen to her. And she gets closer. Kind of the group finishes walking up to the camp and gather around. And she said, "You were in my dream last night." And talk about being caught off guard, like hair on the back of my neck.
Never been there. Never even been in the region.
Yeah. And, but it was just such an opening to just a beautiful friendship with her that we've had for so long. And we were able to use that moment to spend time with her that night and try to learn a way to communicate,
Share the gospel with her. And it's incredible. And I think to what we were just talking about, like Muslims are open. And I mean, that dream right there confirmed that. She said, I had seen you. And then I think she'd even said, and I was told you have a message to bring me. And so then we shared the gospel with her. And so, I mean, I think that so many Muslims across the world are open, looking around at Islam and the state of it. And a lot of them are just sick and tired of things not working out. And a lot of them are sick and tired. And we've heard this many times. I'm sick of praying to a God that doesn't answer. I'm sick of praying to a God and my prayers go unanswered. And so, I just think that these videos can shoot into some of these areas that we can't go to, some closed countries. And so that's what I think is so powerful about digital media and the power of just sharing truth and getting into places that we can't go.
Wow. Yeah, because we can only physically get so many places. We can't go all over, and these things spread all over. Like, I've never been to Indonesia, but they have 13 million views there on I Found the Truth videos.
Which is incredible, and I think that shows you that there's a hunger out there. There's many people, many Muslims out there that are seeking and looking for something different. And so we just firmly believe that we can create, and I've said this before, but we can create a safe place for Muslims to come. We don't want to try to argue anyone into believing in Jesus. We don't want to try to share a message that completely insults them. We don't want to share a message that completely insults them. But just that they would see the hope and the love from the people that get up and share their stories. These I Found the Truth folks that get up and share their stories because they're risking their own life to share their story. But we hope that they see through them the hope and love, and that there is hope and there is love, and that you can pray to a God that will answer prayers, that you can pray to a God that is real and not distant. And so that's why I'm fired up about I Found the Truth.
So the cool thing about it is, like you said, you're not trying to, come down on anybody or condemn them for what they believe. You're just simply laying out the truth for them.
Absolutely.
And then you also have people that have the shared experience of growing up in a similar life, same religion and stuff. And I feel like that would speak to people hearing the truth, not what they've heard from people that are so negative to Christianity, like their imams or other people. It's just laying out the truth and seeing the love and joy in the people that are telling their stories.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I think it's not our job to try to wrestle this message and you have to believe this and argue it. I think, these videos and our job as believers is to plant the seed and just hope that something happens. And, we can't be the one responsible for that, whether they accept Jesus or not, but we can provide them with the gospel. We can provide them with the message of hope. And so, yeah,
just
that's
pray that it takes root.
Yeah, pray that it takes root. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. You've been on set a few times. Has there been anything that's stood out to you? Any stories, any moments? I mean, you saw when we'd started, we had no idea what we were doing and kind of backed our way into it. Has there been anything that has surprised you, that's blown you away, or is there any moments that stuck out with you? That's like 5 questions in there, but you could take one.
Well, it's the level of organization and professionalism has really risen to like a full-on legitimate production.
I do remember season 1 when we started, we needed a photographer there, and we're like, can we get someone that, big camera, take some good photos, we want to put these on the website. Yes, we got it. And then someone shows up with an iPhone and had a little like screw-on lens on it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Those photos didn't turn out well, so.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's awesome to see how it's come together and it's, becoming so efficient in getting the stories captured. And it's not just a one-take thing. It takes some time to get the different shots and lighting and sound. And it's awesome that every single one of the people that have shared their testimonies have just been so personable and loving on set and patient with the process, because again, it can be like a full day sometimes to get.
It's a grueling day. Yeah, and like these people are sacrificing a lot to be able to put their story online.
Yes.
A lot of them have walked a crazy journey, some of them have been thrown into prison.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have been forced into arranged marriages. Some of them have dabbled in crystals and different religions, and ultimately many of them have found the truth. And I think that title encapsulates the series well.
Mm-hmm.
I know with our travels in the Middle East, so many times we'd be talking to Muslims and they would be saying like, I was looking for the truth. Or we'd be talking to Christians that were former Muslims,
mm-hmm.
and they would say, I was looking for the truth. I was looking for the truth. And so I think that name captures it well. When we were thinking of the name, when we were praying for the name, we really were kind of all over the place. And
what was the other top contender?
The other one was I Found the Straight Path. Okay. And many people didn't know what that meant, and even a lot of Muslims didn't as well.
They couldn't tell you what
straight path we couldn't
was.
Either. We were just it sounded nice.
Yeah.
But I just kept going back with I Found the Truth, and it sounded clunky in a whole sentence as a name for something, and then but with all of our travels, we kept hearing that over and over and over was I was looking for the truth, or I found the truth. And so one day I remember I was looking up some video on YouTube, and it was like an ex-Muslim talking about an MBB
Muslim
background believer, and he was sharing his story, and the first comment was, I found the truth in Jesus. And it was just that confirmation that this is the name we're supposed to use, and hopefully Muslims will see that and go, I want to know what the truth is as well.
Well, and it's such a good fit, though, now that it's the name and we've been using it for so long and hearing people say it, and then, the affirmation of all the views and plays and everything. You couldn't think of any other name, though, right?
It's perfect. I mean, I think it fits well with what we're trying to do. And
on set, love it. I love the production of it, and it's great to see how it's become more organized and everything. But I truly just love meeting the people in person.
Yeah.
To hear their stories and meeting them face to face. They're always so kind and it's just been incredible.
Absolutely. So. Okay. have any of the former Muslims that we've interviewed changed your understanding of courage, forgiveness, and other aspects of faith?
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, all three of them, because forgiveness can be a tough one, and seeing what some of these people have gone through, and it's usually with somebody close in their lives, like a family member or a dear friend, that something terrible has happened. They've put their faith in Christ, and they've either been disowned or violent threats against them or other things. And the fact that they're able to so quickly forgive is huge for me to hear. It's just great to see that in action, because just thinking of it, maybe have a little bit of a sense of justice myself. I'd be like, it'd be harder for me to just forgive and forget. But to see them truly do that, and they're not just saying it, they're meaning it too, So that's big. And then the courage.
The courage piece is big.
The courage is big because, it would be equivalent to like you or I, if we were to leave Islam and go to Christianity, have grown up Muslim, let's say, that'd be like giving up kind of your entire friend group, everybody you knew growing up. And you would essentially be isolated. And so even doing it, like I'd consider, maybe doing it without telling the whole world or whatever,
right,
to avoid that condemnation. But they all go out and share it. And
what's incredible about all the stories, and not just I Found the Truth, but even with the travels and stories we've collected, is like they can't contain it. If they, like you said, they could contain it and be like, I want to follow Jesus, but I'll do it privately. I mean, they will boldly get out there, and they know that means our family. Like, could you imagine that? Your family disowns you on the spot. Wow. And a lot of times, the uncle will carry out an honor killing, right? And we know many people personally that have been attacked by their uncle because they left the faith. And so to think what they risk, and it's crazy that they are like willing to become a believer, and not just that, but to say, I'm ready to give all of it up. And so I think the courage in people to be able to do that, like us as believers should learn from that too. We're scared to go across the street to share the gospel, and these folks are really willing to put their life on the line. So I think we can learn a lot from them.
So starting off, the first episode of season 1, and now we're in season 6. That is crazy growth and incredible stories, and so many lives touched and impacted all over the world. Where do you see this going from here, and what is your hope and prayer and vision for it going forward?
Man, I mean, it's been incredible to just be a part of. And like I said earlier, we had no idea what we were doing with season 1. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We just wanted to share stories of former Muslims to encourage other Muslims that are maybe seeking Jesus to want to follow him. So the hope and the vision for the future is to just keep putting this message out there, the message of hope out there, and that this is truth. There is truth out there. And there are many Muslims around the world willing to give up everything that they used to believe in, to believe into a God that answers their prayers, to follow Jesus. And so, our hope and prayer is just that we can keep putting, videos out there that more Muslims see, and that heaven is more crowded one day because of these episodes. And so that's hope and prayer. Where it goes, what's the strategies, and whether it's more roundtables or more different types of interviews, we're open to anything wherever the Lord leads us. But our hope is that more than anything, not numbers, not subscribers, but more about the impact that these films reach the right people, and that they would make a decision to follow Jesus, and that it would be, like many other Muslims, the best decision they ever made.
Amen.
Cool.
Now, would you ever consider a open phone line type thing, like a share your story of finding the truth, with any of the listeners, to see if anybody has a story.
Oh, for sure.
That could be featured or something like that, a call to action, from Abdu, say, hey, if you have a story and you'd want to share it, write us, that'd be kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be incredible to just open up the pipeline for folks to come in if they've got stories, because their stories are real stories. And, those go a long way in a story-based culture. And so I think Muslims need to hear it. These stories are powerful, and we need to pump them out there.
Awesome. Remember that time we were in Turkey?
Yeah.
Meeting with the Syrian refugees there, and that's not the funny part. The funny part is we were asking the whole group, have you guys had any unique dreams of seeing Jesus or anything? So we had the people talk about, I saw a guy in a white robe, and this one guy's like, yes, I had a dream. And so we get the translator there. We all sit down. We're listening to him. He's like, so I had this dream that I stole a car, and I was driving it, and I crashed into a lake, and then this guy came up, and I broke both of his arms. And like, he goes off on this wild, just crazy dream, and we're like, and you want to be respectful to hear his dream that he came up in front of everyone.
Yeah, it was like 60, 70 people that came up and was like, I've had a dream about this.
So we're like, oh, okay. It's because we thought it was, we didn't clarify,
Jesus dream.
But it was.
We're like, thank you for that. I think that was a nightmare next. No, but we actually, that's actually, I do want to share one thing, but this was really important. On that trip, we were out there sharing the gospel there were quite a few people in this refugee camp, and we said, has anyone out there had a dream or vision about Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
And after that nightmare, some lady in the back said, I've had a dream. And she came up and she said, I was here in the refugee camp, and we're looking in Aleppo, which is over the mountains, and that's where like ISIS and a bunch of factions, wars were contested land and all that, just fighting over Aleppo. So all these refugees spilled over in this refugee camp. And she said, I had a dream about a man, and he came to me, and he was dressed in white. He knew my name, and he says, I love you, and I will be with you, and you will go back to Syria one day, and you'll be okay because I will be with you. And so I remember I had an EvangeCube, and I pulled open that slide of Jesus on it, and it's Jesus bursting out of the tomb. And I said, did he look like this? And she started crying, and she said, that was the man I saw in my dreams. And so Muslims around the world are having dreams, and Muslims around the world are getting woken up from Jesus. And I think he's breaking through Islam right now because it's such a tough religion to speak into, and he is doing the work for us. So pretty cool story. And I think that wraps into I Found the Truth.
Amen.
Season. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, good.
Thanks so much for joining us behind the scenes for I Found the Truth Rewind. It's been an incredible journey these 7 years. There's been a lot of laughs. There's been a lot of tears. There's been powerful stories. There's been people that have met Jesus that never knew him before, and Christians that have been encouraged to share with their Muslims. And we're so excited to have this next couple of days where you're going to get to meet some of the team and hear some more about I Found the Truth. So if you want to find out more, go to ifoundthetruth.com.